And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Give it to you in about 8 words.
Okay.
Right. It was excruciating. Unconvincing, poorly written, moronic, completely contrived shit. How about that? That was 7 words. No.
I don't know. Why don't you tell us what you really thought?
Steve is holding way back on this one.
I know, kind of on the
Just
fence.
just
Kinda
relax
on
and
the
be
fence.
yourself, you know.
Good evening and welcome to Is It a Bicycle? Season 9, Episode 17, the original and bestest ever TV and movie podcast. My name is Stephen Wrigley and I'll be your host for this evening. Beside me I have a man who quit dating insomniacs as none of them would sleep with him. It's Mike McDonough. Live from Vegas, we have a man who's going to make a Mexican joke but decided not to cross that border. It's Sean. And in the red corner, it's our cuddly killer, a man who enjoys long walks away from responsibility. It's Mark, superhero Leonard. This week we'll be discussing some movies in the shape of The LastWitchHunter and Bone Tomahawk, and some TV in the form of Wicked City. Of course, we'll have some of the usuals with the news and some previews on coming to a bicycle near you. So how are we doing?
Fantastic, Steve.
Good. How are you doing, Marcus?
You totally caught me chewing.
Did I? See, this is
really,
a running
really
theme,
awkward.
actually, isn't it? He picks the moment for when the podcast starts to shove something in his gob.
Yep. I am so inconsiderate. It's a wonder you guys are even still friends with me.
You know, if there wasn't a podcast now,
Yeah.
pushing it, you know.
So, how often have we gone up to visit him in Donegal?
Me or you, Mike? I went up for his wedding. Remember that bit?
That doesn't count.
Some things you can never, ever live down. And you now coming to my wedding is one of them. So Steve, what are we talking about tonight? Tell me.
Tonight, I've already covered what we will be talking about. We're also going to be talking about some other stuff that we saw this week. And there's one in particular I'd like to talk about, which is The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I got to it.
Finally.
You got around to that.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is the one that you
Finally.
give very, very high marks.
I think we did. But the movie-going public didn't.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I thought it would have done better. But anyway, I thought this was more like Bond than Bond.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
It's more like the old school Bond than
Yeah.
the new Bond. And for that, it was a lot of fun. It was like Bond with an American accent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got the whole 60s thing really well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Uh-huh.
It's good fun. And obviously they've a franchise starting of some sort. Yeah.
For sure. Hopefully there's 24 movies of it.
Yeah. The woman from Auntie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can but hope.
Yeah. What else to see this week? Grabbers. You saw this a few years ago, didn't you?
Yeah, we reviewed it.
Yeah. This is the Irish horror from 2012.
Where if you're drunk, they don't get you.
Yeah, it's a horror-omedy. Yeah, so the basic premise being, if you've missed our previous episode reviewing it, you better not have. Was,
Go do your homework.
yeah. A space squid or octopus or something arrive on a small island off of Ireland and start to eat people. And the people of the island discovered that if you're rotten drunk, that it won't come after you because it's sort of allergic to alcohol and it kills it.
Right.
That's the basic premise. So to save the island, the protagonists decide to have a lock-in in the pub for no reason. You know, they didn't tell them why. And they sort of go to mass and they stand at the pulpit and say, sorry, Father, I just have to talk to him. Yeah, we're having a lock-in because we all really like him. And everyone's just like, oh, what? Yeah, everyone has to go. And they're like, what? Yeah. There's a free bar. Oh, let's go. Yeah.
Stampede.
Yeah. Now it's ridiculous, but it's very funny. You know, it's brain at the door kind of stuff. But yeah, it's worth a look.
Right.
Yeah.
This Saturday was Halloween. I'm not sure if you were aware. And had there been an infestation of grabbers in Letterkenny town, I would have been completely immune. I would have been totally invisible. So I've been looking forward to Halloween for weeks and weeks now.
Yeah.
I like it anyway, but I made a stand this year. I'm getting dressed up.
Right.
So I ordered my morph suit. I got my black Kirka 1985 black Spider-Man costume. And I suited up, much like the web slinger does himself, and I headed on into the town. But my mistake, it was me, Michelle, and a couple of friends of mine. My mistake was we went to their house first to have a few drinks. And this is where it all started to go wrong. And like, I don't drink that often. Like, it's not a regular thing. But when I do, I don't usually do a big binge thing either. I tend to usually drink in moderation, but my God, was moderation so an ephemeral concept on Saturday. So I called up to my buddies, Donna and Orson. They've a lot to answer for, to be honest, for getting me in this state. Though, to be fair to them, they were the ones trying to pull me back from the brink. Right. Donna actually gave me a chicken curry and rice at like about an hour after I arrived because it was so necessary.
So good. A load of rice.
So it was then that all of the flaws with wearing a morph suit out on a night out started to appear. Because they zip up completely.
I was going to say there's no zipper in the right place.
Yeah, so they zip from the part of your back you can't reach to the top of your skull, right? And like, while it is funny to watch a drunk person try and reach something that cannot be reached by the human shoulder, it gets a bit awkward. So I had a spare Under Armour top with me because I was worried that the stitching wouldn't hold in this thing because it's a little bit snug, right? These things are a bit snug. And when you're moving around and dancing or whatever, I just said this could burst wide open and my dignity would be just lost. It'd be in tatters on the dance floor in Letterkenny, which it is most days anyway, but I digress. So to get out of this to the point where you can expose your genitalia and actually do a number one requires you to open the zips completely, right? And then take off all of the top and push it down past the important part. So that would mean that I would be standing in a urinal completely topless, dressed as one half of Spider-Man. So luckily I had that spare top with me. I pulled that on.
You probably fit right in though in Donegal, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? There was a communion of morph suits. I had my picture taken with Deadpool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I never learned his real name. I understand that kind of thing happens in nightclubs all the time. And there was a bunch of other guys in morph suits. There's about 5 or 6 of us in total. And we exchanged a moment on the dance floor at one point. But like, it was great because, if you weren't in fancy dress, you would have really stood out. You know, and it's great just to have a whole place into the whole dressing up thing. It was really good.
Yeah.
So, come here, what's the etiquette on going into a nightclub toilet and asking a complete stranger to undo your zipper for you?
Well, luckily I had the wherewithal to get that done at my table with by people I knew. But it was funny because like,
honey, can you zip me up? There's the dignity.
As you know, I was a bouncer for a while, right? And I knew that it would be annoying to have somebody come into the door where you couldn't see their face at all. Because I could be anybody. I could be their greatest enemy, you know, if he was roughly my shape, like. So I deliberately put on my mask in the taxi so that when I be going in the door, they wouldn't know who I was. It's like kind of like I was drunk, but like I was up for a bit of crack, like. So I was kind of hoping they would stop me. And I go, I'm sorry, Spider-Man, Party of 4. But the bastards never did. They let me just sail on in, like plainly unprofessional. And then when I got in there, I could tell that I couldn't see anybody.
Oh yeah.
Because my face was covered and I was just trying to look out through white eye holes in the black Spidey suit. But I got the impression that people were checking out my suit. So I drank a full bottle, a long neck bottle of beer through the suit. So that I was going to ask you about it.
Yeah. It's possible.
It is possible.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you need to give it a bit of suction, like
extra filtered, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was such a bad idea, but you'd never do that kind of stuff sober. Like you never do any of this sober. But anyway, I paid for it. I paid for it all day Sunday, all day Monday, and it wasn't like I got out of the gym last night that I felt even vaguely human. So I think I'm a cautionary tale. No more drinking out till Christmas. It's official. You heard it here.
Well, not till the 28th, isn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, let me revise that.
From the dark.
From the dark.
Tell us, Mike. What's that?
From the dark. I saw this on the Horror Channel this week. It is a pretty new Irish movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been doing the festival rounds.
Oh, okay.
I think it started end of last year, but all this year it's been going festival to festival.
Yeah.
And it's finally made the TV breakthrough. It's a B movie. Very much so a B movie.
All right.
So you have 4 characters. they obviously borrowed somebody's house and car.
The director's mum and dad.
Yeah. So the basic idea is there's an old fella digging or cutting turf, and he digs up a bog body, and turns out the bog body isn't as dead as
And he's not too pleased.
yeah.
Which used to happen all the time in
Yeah, indeed.
rural parts of Ireland.
That's right. So the bog body is of course a monster. Turns out he doesn't like humans too much, and he doesn't like light, so hence from the dark. So the main characters are a young couple from Dublin who rather adventurously have gone out beyond the M50 for the weekend. And
Irish joke, road joke there, people.
And lo and behold, their worst nightmares occur when they've left the big city.
Should have left those lights.
Yeah. So that's it. It's a monster movie in a house. Young people getting chased around the place, trying frantically to keep some sort of light on somewhere, anywhere. Please.
Really?
Johnny?
Oh,
Johnny!
is it any good?
It actually wasn't bad, you know.
Yeah.
As a B movie.
B movie, so it's out of 2.
Yeah, it's a solid one, like, you know.
Solid one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You know, if you're flicking through the channels of an evening and you see it on, worth a look, sure.
All right, okay, cool.
I wish they'd make more Irish horror movies. It's a great place for horror.
Was an American one. Mark, you were in a horror movie, weren't you? Irish horror movie? Or was it just that it was so bad that it was so horrible?
Yeah, no, it was one of those that was so bad, like it would have been a 0 on the B movie scale. I was in Trained for Action, starring kickboxing star Don the Dragon Wilson.
Nice.
Which I actually have on DVD
No
in
way.
my house.
No way.
And do you know what it's brilliant for? Actually, I show it to you whenever you come up.
Yeah.
It's brilliant for looking at Galway in that time period.
Okay.
All right.
Because the Clinical Science Institute up at the hospital is the FBI headquarters. And then they do this thing that I'm sure they do in all films where the geography is merged. So they're having a foot chase, right? And they run down towards the corn store and appear at the top of the Salmon Weir. And obviously those two places are not connected in any shape or form. But and you know the wee grocery shop that used to be in the corn store?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's gone a good while now, but that was the scene of a violent murder. And there is, you know, down the lane in Buskers,
Yeah.
there's a shootout there. So it's hilarious. Like just if you're from Galway, it's hilarious to watch that. Like, and there's a few characters that I still see around. Like the main, the number one henchman is a kind of a character around Galway. He's involved in mockness and stuff,
Right.
and you still see him, and he looks exactly the same. Like he's older, obviously, as we all are, but he looks exactly the same.
Wasn't that a thing? Wasn't there like 20 or 25 kung fu movies made in Connemara back in the 90s?
Yeah, there was a grant or something.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. They were belting them out like every week.
What did we do a movie on?
Yeah.
Kung Fu.
Yeah. I didn't realize that Mark was part of our kung fu film heritage.
Yeah.
In the West of
Part
Ireland.
of our cultural heritage in so many ways, Mike.
There you go. They're going to have to put a plaque outside the wall of his house, you know. Mark Leonard, born here.
Cock.
Stay away. Yeah. You're such assholes.
Small car. What else I get to this? Oh, yeah.
And Mark is going to put a picture up on Facebook to dispute Steve's last claim. Oh, you probably saw during the week that I posted up the picture of the tattoo I was talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you did indeed. There was a question.
I must actually put a picture up of the Halloween outfit now that we've been talking about.
Oh, yeah, I do, actually, yeah.
Because I did share on our Facebook page, I shared Sean's costume. Sean was actually out at Halloween dressed as the Green Arrow.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, really good costume.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah.
I meant to ask, actually, is the tattoo, is that like a scratch and sniff thing, or?
You mean a transfer? No.
I don't even know you people anymore.
There was a question going, what is that A leg? I just posted up saying, yeah, and what a leg. Yeah. You know, fairness. All right. What else did I say? Oh, yeah. Something I wanted to talk about. Do you remember 1980? Well, I know you remember this, Mike, anyway. It was
yesterday.
Mid-70s, yeah. 1982. Evil Dead, Part 2, I think. I think it was 82 it came out. Maybe it was 87. Yeah, the first one maybe came out. I can't remember. Evil Dead Part 2 was huge, right? And it was Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi, director. They're sort of like buddies. They live together and so on, and they've been buddies for years and years. So they made this movie. It went big, became a cult classic. Have you seen it?
I have.
I have. And it was funny. It was good because it was so OTT.
Yeah.
Like it was comedic. Like it was purposely comedic. And like the gore was way over the top. The situations that the hero of the movie, Ash, which is played by Bruce Campbell, got into, you know, you just go, oh, that poor, you know, just like, I don't believe it. And there's some scenes in it that are just classics, you know. So a number of years later, it was in 92-ish, they came back and they made a follow-up called The Army of Darkness. Yeah. And that was huge as well. I remember I was playing in Dublin for, geez, it must have been 6 months or something, and then they replayed it then a couple of years later and so on. I must have seen that movie, I don't know. It was one of those that I just watched a lot, you know, with a couple of buddies were just mad about it, but thought it was hilarious. So anyway, they've sort of done lots of B-movie horrors since, low budget stuff anyway, you know, and lots of them. And he's appeared in, Briscoe County Jr. was one series he was in.
And even Burn Notice as well.
He might have been, yeah. He was in a few anyway. Anyway, at these conventions, he has this group of people that sort of follow him around nearly, you know, just, there's Bruce Campbell, you know, he's like a god, you know.
It's like the Grateful Dead almost.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So now it's kind of got to the stage of TV where if you have, let's say, a TV show or something where you've still got a big cult following, that they'll go and remake it. For example, Prison Break is coming back. Can you believe it? Jeez. That's actually a news item I was going to talk about later. But, you know, and all these remakes that we've seen in the last couple of years, you know, so I'm sure Dukes of Hazzard will be back at some stage as well, without the flag. Yeah.
Didn't they make a Dukes of Hazzard movie recently?
They made a movie, yeah. We have Supergirl is back, we have Wonder Woman coming back, you know, et cetera, point made. So anyway, they decided that they would go and make a series based on Ash versus Evil Dead, but set 30 years after the fact, which ties in perfectly with Bruce Campbell himself. So it sets the scene where he's living in a trailer now. He's kind of not getting too close to people, still feels guilty over what happened back in the day, and still working in like the equivalent of whatever it was, not Walmart, but he had some other name for it, Shop S-Mart, you know. By night, he puts on his corset to drag in the belly and goes picking up some desperadas, you know, and there's an incident. And Bruce realizes something is amiss. He then recalls, you know, through sort of a foggy memory, you know, fogged with alcohol and grass, that he showed one of these desperados, you know, showing off to her his most prized possession, which is the Necronomicon, which is the Book of the Dead. You know, and he drunkenly remembers reading a passage from it, which released evil of some sort. So that's where it starts, and it's brilliant in that it captures the essence of the original movies. It has the same sort of shots and slow-mos, and uses the same, you know, special effects, which are, you know, they're brutal, but they suit it in context. You know what I mean? It's like it's got a large budget, but trying to grab the look of a low budget, you know, affair. But it's funny. Lucy Lawless will be in it, Mike. I thought you'd be delighted. She'll be in the 10 episodes of this season, and they've actually ordered season 2 before season 1 aired.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, Sean, did you see any of this?
Ash vs Evil Dead, no. I'm doing a mic on it. I'm giving it a run.
Oh yeah.
I'll let it play out for a little bit, and then I'm going to gorge on it while trying to make my friends feel bad about my silly plan.
I did see a bit of this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just to put it in context, I rewatched Evil Dead last year, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh. And I thought...
Was that 1 or 2?
Second one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I thought it aged really badly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was really disappointed on watching it again.
Yeah.
But, so I didn't have a lot of hope for this.
Yeah.
but I thought they did a pretty decent job of it.
Yeah.
He's I love the thing with the course. That's fucking hilarious.
It's so. I mean, there's just bits like that are just hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, it still has the same humor. It's nearly, you know, it's a perfect follow. Like,
Yeah.
It's like they continued writing, they forgot about a bit, and they went, "Oh yeah, we'll resurrect this."
Yeah.
You know, that kind of way. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the way his life is just a haze now.
I know, yeah.
So yeah, actually, just one question. I didn't look up the cast list. Was that the female state trooper? Is she the same girl that was in Sleepy Hollow? She was the sheriff in Sleepy Hollow.
Oh right. I didn't check actually, but yeah, could have been.
Maybe,
yeah, she looked familiar. I didn't check. Yeah.
I'd say she's going to be big in this. But
Yeah.
I see sidekick already.
Yeah, I wonder, is this going to be a mixed gender investigative team again?
yeah. But from what I saw, it looks pretty decent. If you're into it,
Yeah,
I'd
if
say
you're
it'll
into
be,
it. Yeah. And
well worth
you didn't notice the car by any chance, did you?
I noticed the car. I didn't know what it was, though.
I wouldn't expect you to know, in fairness. It's a pretty nerdy thing. It's a 73 Oldsmobile Delta 88, right?
It was on the tip of my tongue still.
Yeah, I know. But the significance of it, right, is that it's been in all the other movies too. And it's in most of Sam Raimi's movies.
The same car?
It's kind of like his trademarky thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's his car.
all the Spider-Mans.
It's his car. It's in Spider-Man. You're right. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is pretty nerdy.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah. So that was that. Next up, we'll go to the news. Is It a Bicycle has a fan that has been promoted up the hate list. Yes, folks, one of our listeners by the name of AJ has been boosted to the top of the hate list after his gloating and rubbing of salty sand in the eyes of the cast of Is It a Bicycle. He announced earlier this week that not only is he seeing Star Wars on release day, but seeing it in an IMAX. Oh, congrats, AJ. Top of the hate list. Keep one eye open. We'll be in touch. Prison Break is to come back. Set several years after the end of the last series. That's it. Yeah, so apparently some of the stars from the first series will be back, and yay.
They're back in jail again.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. What, will they have to get back in again to escape again?
Yeah.
I did get all these tattoos for no reason. You know. I think Blind Spot's got that covered this year, though. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, did you hear Tarantino called police murderers?
Did he?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All
allegedly.
police, or just the police who murder people?
I think he sort of said police in general, which is the issue. He didn't actually say that guy, Sergeant, O'Reilly or whatever his name is.
Right.
So. Yeah, he was at a rally, and he said, got to call, a murderer, and murderers. A lot of the unions have got fired up over this. Mm-hmm. 5 of the largest ones. Mm-hmm. They are saying that they're going to boycott, thank you, and they won't be helping out with security or any of the other films that he's making or blah, 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 and so on. They have a big long list because they're so pissed off at him.
Yeah, all right.
And they want an apology, but he's not usually one to apologise. So.
No. Had he just come out straight out of Compton or something?
I don't know. But, it was one of those rallies where we were talking about brutality. He might have got caught up in the moment or whatever. But anyway, he's not unknown for criticising the police in the US anyway. So it wouldn't be the first time he's in hot water with them.
Have you already talked about the Star Trek series?
No, go for it.
Apparently a new Star Trek TV series has been commissioned with... Alex Kurtzman, who we know with him and Roberto Orci have been kind of in charge of the J.J. Abrams, a lot of J.J. Abrams projects actually, but they are very involved in the Star Trek film franchise. Apparently Kurtzman is going to be executive producing this new series. Very few details at this early stage.
Is it going to be another Deep Space Nine bullshit, or are they actually going to make an effort this time?
Wow.
He's not even going to reply to you. Okay. Moving on. Okay. So we'll start with the first of our movies. Bone Tomahawk. Mike, tell us.
This is a Western.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell.
Yep.
Matthew Fox.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of other people.
Patrick Wilson. Lily Simmons. David Arquette.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, a bunch of other people.
Living
somewhere in the Wild West. And everything is kind of idyllic, except for when you're outside of town. Things are a bit rough outside town. They seem to have a real problem with
It's a bit wild
bushwhacking
out the west.
That's right. Yeah. The east side of town is grand, but once you go out the west, it's really dodgy.
West side.
Yeah. So basically, you have one of these bushwhackers has pissed off some local Indians, and after doing that, he decides to come into town and gets himself injured. And in the process of being treated, the Indians come into town to get him, and they take 2 people who happen to be with him. The townsfolk are pretty cheesed off with this, so they decide to launch a rescue mission.
Let's get a posse.
Get a posse together. And I have to say, it may go down in history as the movie world's worst ever rescue team. There's calling the cavalry, and then there's these guys. And that's basically what it is. It's a chase movie. Try and rescue the damsel in distress and get back without losing too many of your teeth.
Yeah. Well put. Sean, did you see this?
I saw all the way up to the first act.
Yeah.
I'm afraid time caught up with me, but it has a great opening.
Yes.
A great opening involving former WCW World Heavyweight Champion David Arquette. And the humor in this is so apparent from get-go, without being like cheeky or making fun of Westerns. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it is also funny, which I really, really liked. And it's actually described, I had a bit of a look at a synopsis myself. It's actually described as a horror Western.
Yes.
And not just a Western, which I'm interested in. And I thought that there was some really great writing. Like, there's a sequence where there's so much character stuff in this before real, like, violence. Like, the real violence that I saw was, like, peppered, and I'm sure that'll increase as the movie goes. But so much of it is just conversation. And I really liked some sequences with your classic Western love story.
Yeah.
There's a great, I'm a tough guy, so how are we going to get this character to emote? Well, I guess what if we had him read a thing and then be all gruff about it? Like, I really liked some of the stuff that they were doing. And I really feel for some of the characters immediately, because there's the backup deputy, who is it seems to me very clearly he's being kept busy so he doesn't keep thinking about his like recently deceased wife. And just like little bits and pieces like that put some real, I think, nobility into some, I guess, in all other respects, like common, archetypes of the Wild West, which I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah. Humor. It wasn't what struck me after watching this, I'd say. But I know what you mean. It's funny, I was thinking about this today, and I'd forgotten completely about the first act.
Yeah.
Completely. I'd forgotten. I was like, oh yeah, that happened. That whole thing with the lads at the start, I'd completely forgotten it, because the rest of the movie really overshadows. Yeah. I have to say, now, I agree with Sean. It's brilliant. Kurt Russell is excellent as the gritty, seen it all before sheriff. Yeah. He's one of the standout performances. Matthew Fox as well. I didn't even recognize him. Yeah, he was brilliant as well. Who else was in there? Not sure. Actually, Matthew Fox? What was he exactly?
Mr. Brodeur.
Yeah, was he just like a gun for hire? Or?
No, I think he was a local dandy.
Oh, is that what it was? He was a cad.
Yeah.
Just a cad, yeah. Although I've seen better from Patrick Wilson. This year in Fargo. It's brilliant. Yeah. And what did we see? We saw him in something last week as well. Did we not?
I can't remember. Oh
no, maybe it was this movie. But anyway. But he was... just the character just wasn't great. It was just like, Jesus. Yeah. It was annoying more than anything. Lily Simmons, she kind of looked like she was kind of hanging out more than being in the situation that she was in,
How are you, lads?
Yeah, exactly. She never, it never came across that she was, in fear or, in trouble even. It was just like chilling out and biding her time.
Not even slightly inconvenienced.
No, not even worried, not even chatting about it.
Yeah.
Like, talking about things that were unrelated. There's some violence in this, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And there is some particular violence that is quite shocking and appalling, I have to say. And I'm sure it'll be mentioned by anyone who watches this movie because it was unexpected. We weren't led up to it. It was just like, oh Jesus, you know. So yeah. When I got to the end of this, I have to admit I felt wanting because there are number sort of story arcs in this that are wrapped up off of screen, or whereas they're the ones that I wanted to see on screen.
Okay.
There is a case, actually a bad case of troglodytes in this as well, and we know nothing about them. I mean, it could be anyone. It could be any gang in American gang. It could be any street gang. It could be anyone, you know. But we've no backstory on them really.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest problems with the movie.
Yeah,
was the total lack of personality in the bad guys.
Yeah.
Like even they bring in a token Indian expert.
Yeah.
To say who these guys are, and he just says, they're so degenerate they don't even have a language.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to think of them as anything beyond like zombie level threat.
It could be zombies or aliens or anything. It could be anything. It could be anything. That's I don't think they made a mark in that.
Yeah, it's just like insert bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was nearly like Cowboys versus Aliens.
Yeah.
A lot of parallels in it. Yeah, cinematography was pretty cool.
Yeah,
the Wild West looked wild.
It did.
It looked West.
Yeah, very West.
But my other problem with this movie was the predictability. Yeah.
See, that's because there wasn't an awful lot of things changing.
No.
Like the characters started out in a certain way. Pretty well all of them finished up in a certain way.
Yeah.
Maybe the girl's husband, you could argue, had a change along the way.
Maybe, yeah.
Everyone else, they have their job. They
Yeah.
go do that job in the movie. And, even like Kurt Russell is great. I never speak ill of Kurt Russell. But, he didn't have an awful lot for doing in this movie.
Well, he had a fantastic moustache to look after. That was about it, man.
Yeah.
Extraordinary moustache.
Yeah. I wonder, was it his own, or did they just
I wonder.
Yeah.
November, sure.
Yeah. That'd be a really impressive moustache to bring into a bar.
You'd be ordering sarsaparillas.
Yeah. Speaking of bars, probably my favourite scene in this, there's a shooting in a bar.
Yeah.
And Matthew Fox is there.
Yeah.
And it just, for me, sums up all the archetypes of what the Wild West is supposed to be.
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, because he's dressed up in this immaculate suit.
Yeah.
And he's drinking his whiskey. Somebody gets shot. He's not involved. And he doesn't bat an eyelid. He just finishes his drink, stops at the door, fixes his hat on his head, and then walks out. It's like nothing happened.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Brilliant piece.
Good day too, sir.
Yeah. I'll take my business elsewhere.
It moved along nicely, though. It wasn't one that was sort of like, come on.
Yeah.
You know?
It was decent enough in that regard. But again, you're just struggling to kind of get into it because it's, there's a big section of it that's basically a road movie. They're going along the journey, and there's not an awful lot happening. There's chit chat between the characters, but there aren't any real dingers where you say, "Oh, that's."
There's mini
that's
adventures,
good.
and that's about it. Yeah.
It's almost like they're just killing time.
Yeah.
Till they get the end.
Are we there yet? Nearly.
Yeah.
Just 4 more scenes. We'll be there. Yeah.
The violence itself, I thought was quite refreshing, actually. It's not often, this jaded reviewer sees some things go, oh,
yeah,
damn. Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah. I had to take a little break for myself at one stage, I have to admit.
And it looks real. It looks hurty.
It does.
One little thing that kind of stuck in my head while I was watching it is the way Sean has always gone on about pay attention to this. This will be important later.
Yeah. He's listening to it. He's in the room.
There's a couple of times they set that up.
Yeah.
And then they just forget about it.
Yeah. It's so true, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what happened?
You set that up so nicely, and then you just fucking left it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. what they were thinking there.
Well, that's kind of was my issue, like with some of the story arcs that happened finished up off screen. That I was just like, jeez,
yeah.
Could have been so good.
Yeah,
I want to see what happens. Anything else saying this?
Not a whole lot really. Yeah, I think we covered most of it.
Yeah, kind of a mark, would you?
I did enjoy the movie, but it wasn't any great shakes at the end of the day. Really nicely made, but the story itself was a bit. I'll give it a 6.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think it was better than average as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'd go in around a 6 too. And like Sean said, it's kind of intriguing. Yeah, because it's a horror western.
Yeah.
Horror-estern? Is that it?
Hestern.
Okay. Yeah, 6.
Watchable, but could have done better.
It wouldn't be a matinee now, but it'd be a lazy Wednesday evening, I'd say. Yeah.
Be careful who you watch it with.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, next up with first of our TV, which was Wicked City. Mark.
Cops investigate a serial killer.
Look at him, he's chewing again.
He's fucking eating again. You fucking piece of shit.
Right, listen, you fuckers. I've had a very busy day. I've got another 600 calories to eat. So while you guys are jawing about some film I didn't see, I'm going to get my goodness into me. You feel me?
That rhymed. That was actually pretty good.
That was pretty good, wasn't he?
And I gave the perfect synopsis. 2 cops who obviously don't get along because you can't initially get on with your partner in any cop show. Try and track down a serial killer played by another Gossip Girl alumni. We had a different Gossip Girl alumni in Blood and Oil. All the Gossip Girl peeps are floating to the top, as you would expect.
I don't know if you'd call it the top.
XOXO. Gossip Girl. So it's a serial killer thing set in a time period.
Yeah. Are we not done with serial killer things?
Well, we're done with Criminal Minds. We're so done with that.
Yeah.
They just keep shoving them out.
Yeah. But this, I'll come straight out of it. This is really contrived.
I think you're contrived.
And they're really trying too hard on this one.
I think you might contrive this review.
Even the club. What's it called? The whiskey?
Whiskey Jojo's.
Whiskey. Isn't that there was one of those in LA in the 80s that like long-haired people came out of and did well from Motley Crue and someone like Motorhead or someone else like that. Yeah. So,
but
when he walks in, that's the first band style that you see. It's just like, Jesus.
Isn't it set in LA in the 80s?
Yes, but it's like has to have the landmark.
Yeah.
It's like you go to Paris in a movie. There's the Eiffel Tower. There's fucking Arc de Triomphe. Yeah. It's that kind of thing. The soundtrack, 80s music. And they show us so many 80s things as we go along. All the muscle cars that are still driving the streets.
Yeah.
Your man's driving what? Pontiac GTO. Bullnose.
Yeah.
And it's I saw that and went, oh yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
And then I went, oh, there's another one. Oh yeah. Anyway, it didn't get off to a good start for me. It was just a bit too. It was like they compressed all the 80s stuff into like 4 blocks.
Right.
Anyway, that was my initial impression.
Yeah. And did like once you got over that, did the story kind of make any impression on you?
I tell you what, I'll give it to you in about 8 words.
Okay.
Right. It was excruciating, unconvincing, poorly written, moronic, completely contrived shit. How about that?
Or what I like to call intriguing.
Yeah.
That was 7 words, but anyway. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, why don't you tell us what you really thought about it?
Steve is holding way back on this one.
I know, kind of on the fence.
Just relax and be yourself,
So, obviously, I agree wholeheartedly with Steve. I really like this. The first thing that they're doing right in this is, so Steve, we are certainly done with serial killer cop shows. We're definitely done. There's been any amount of them.
Yeah.
But we're always open for a good one. Because the premise is interesting. You're looking at a deviant mind that can be interesting if it's written the right way. It can be an interesting person, the serial killer himself. The act of trying to catch him, and as they play off each other, because serial killers, of course, taunt the law. So there's always good interaction there. And I think they do something really, really good in that they set up the characterization on the killer is early and it is excellent. And I was immediately interested in his motivation and the specific types of abuse that led him to be the person that he is now. The cops, I don't think were as good, but they weren't bad. Like, you seemed to hate everything that happened on the screen while the show was on. I didn't think the chemistry between the two cops was that bad. I thought it was fairly good. The setting was a bit understated for most of it. You could, if you weren't paying attention, you know, like if you happen to be on Facebook at the same time, perhaps you might look up and go, when's this set again?
Oh, it's Blade Runner. Hang on. Oh no, it's not.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Because they weren't hammering you with the setting. Like, every so often something would happen, you go, oh, right, this was days of yore. But it wasn't constantly being hammered. I didn't think that hurt it either way anyway. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't see what your problem is, man.
I think we've seen plenty, like we said, I'm not going to rehash that. So we've seen plenty of serial
But not
killer
as good
ones.
as this one.
No.
You've seen worse ones.
What's the one that you really like that you watched all the seasons of?
Grey's Anatomy.
No, the other serial killer one.
It sounds like The Killing, but it's not. It's the one with the
No.
Kevin Bacon.
The
Kevin
one
Bacon.
where your man was a cop and he was
Dexter.
Dexter, yeah.
Dexter.
Oh yeah.
You see?
Okay, that's better.
You see, it is better, yeah. And,
But that's
and
different though. That's a serial killer trying to catch a serial killer, completely different genre.
This is this is playing to the same crowd, but they're trying to make it adult themed, right? By very clumsily mixing sex and violence.
What's not to like, Steve?
But it was you know.
Oh, you thought the sex was clumsy, or
Well, actually, you know what? Okay, it did have one saving grace in this, and that is there is one character in it with which he seems to have made a bond beyond the killing and the murdering of her. And that is interesting. That would be something that if I'd like the rest of it, I'd be interested to see where that goes. You know.
well, therein I think you've picked up the key of the series.
Oh yeah, probably.
Like that's you've got basically a Myra Hindley and Ian Brady kind of thing. Yeah, the genesis of it.
Accomplish or something like that.
Yeah.
Developing. Yeah.
And I thought the way they handled that character was absolutely brilliant.
Did you?
Yeah, because she was, she had a facade, and every so often they'd give you a little nod to what she was really like.
Right.
And you could see, like, she is so perfect for him. This could be one of the great love stories of this year on TV.
But didn't we have something similar during the summer? You know that one that bombed, the one about this isn't based on a true story, but we use all the same names. Do you remember that one? Your man who killed a load of women. He had like a harem going on. What's his name? That serial killer? Oh, I reviewed it earlier this year. Bundy.
Charles Manson.
Oh, Manson.
Oh, Manson.
That was it, Manson.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, that's not as good.
No.
That one was too confused for too long. This one's straight to it.
I mean,
You and Sean made similar noises.
Yeah, I want to hear what
Sean
John thinks now. Yeah.
So I was actually going to say, I was working on this while you guys were giving very differing views on the same material. I think that TV, in a lot of ways, is like stripping. Stay with me.
okay.
So
Mike's wild with you.
you can't just
Oh, no, we're
take
all with you, man.
everything.
We're not leaving this conversation.
You can't just walk out there and take everything off at the exact same time. There's no art to that, and then you're just sitting there while a song plays for 3 minutes. But you also can't go out there wearing a lot of clothes for a very long time, or you won't get any tips. So I think it's really important to slowly, to tantalize, to reveal, perhaps conceal again, put in a couple surprises, not like crying game style ones, but like some surprises. And this show was really blatantly about, here's the thing, isn't it pretty? We're going to keep doing this same thing, and we're going to just tell you all the shit, like straight away. And I don't know. So, okay, the opening of this I really like. I was a big fan of the songs actually in general, and the setting. I thought that they really like hit it, and I was like, this is pretty cool. And also I read a synopsis for this that says that each series focuses on a different investigation. And I believe it's based on a real one. And I was like, okay, cool. So like I can see these places are actual places. I'm interested in this. This is cool. And then like the first bit of violence, I was like, all right, cool. And they have this beautiful shot where instead of showing us the Hollywood sign, which is what all things set in Hollywood do at some point, it showed us the view from behind the Hollywood sign, which made LA look like it was trapped. It made LA look like it was like encircled. And I thought that was really cool. The problem is that the violence pretty much plays out the same ways. And it's almost like they come up with their catchphrase and then they overuse it. And I was just kind of like, by the end of the episode, I was like, is that the fourth time that I've heard this exact phrase? That's okay. I mean, I get what you're trying to do, but I also got that the second time you said it and the third time you said it. This is a bit repetitive for me. So I needed something else besides the repetitive serial killery stuff. And also, I think in horror and thriller suspense, usually you don't want to just show everything about the monster straight away, so that there's mystery, tension. And in this, it was kind of like, there's going to be a very specific event that made this person this way, because that's how psychology works. This one thing happened, and now this is what he does all the time. He didn't get the cookies, so now he kills people with cookies. Like, you know what I mean? So I was just like, okay.
Best serial killer profile ever. I love it, Sean. That is a criminal. Would you write that as a Criminal Minds episode and send it in? They'll film it like
BAU.
They're so out of ideas. Like the Cookie Monster would be perfect.
But didn't the cop do that? The cop did that in the show. He got it straight off the bat. Like,
yeah,
he
and
profiled him like he just went, this is what his issues are, and it's just like,
Well, here's the thing, though. I think the cop was wrong about one specific point, because he said that he didn't get enough love from his mother, and I think the problem is actually he might have gotten a bit too much. Simply based on when he finds out about like one character trait of a person, he really like hones in on it, and it's like, oh, doesn't seem to be a negative for him. It seems to be positive. But anyway, it still seemed to be too like, oh, the cop thinks it's this thing. That's really basic. Sure. What's his one? Oh, it's a slightly different basic thing. And then, so what I needed was like some other interesting thing, right? Because the serial killer stuff, they did a good job, and then it got repetitive, but they have many more episodes. They've got 10 more episodes. So they'll have other ideas, I'm sure. The idea of him leaving a trail for the cops, yeah, that's kind of interesting. Let's see how the cops react to that. Turns out in a really cliched way, where they make bad personal life choices, but they're damn good cops. So I was just like, all right, this is fine. So I don't know. I think it had me for a while, and then it did everything in its power to just kind of push me away. You know, like the person that you have a great like first date with, and then you realize that on the second date your conversations are exactly the same, and then that keeps happening, and they're pretty, but they're not like so pretty that you can't just ignore. Did
you have the sex the first date or the second date?
Shallow.
If it's this show, it would be the first date.
Well, there would never be a second date then.
Oh, well, sometimes I like to have sex with the same person multiple times. They say it's better the second time. They let you do the weird stuff.
Who says that?
It's a quote from Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, but don't worry about it.
He doesn't know himself. He hasn't been on a second date.
Oh, that's a sting. That's a dirty dig. That's pain where my heart lives,
It was
Steve.
left there hanging there.
I'm done talking about Wicked City. Move on from me.
It's hanging there in front of me, man.
That's what she said.
Oi. So, Mike, anything else to say on this? Did you like it, Mike?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I didn't expect to like it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was intrigued by the potential of that relationship.
Oh, okay.
I thought the cops were weak, and
unfortunately, they're 50% of the show.
Yeah, and Vera Farmiga's little sister, kind of. I'm not sure what she's going to be in this. You know, she'll be a link of some kind. I am a bit worried that they're already like a phone call away from solving the case.
Yeah, they pretty much could have wrapped it up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was enough there to keep me interested. I will watch more, so I'll give it a thriller.
Oh, Mark.
Yeah, I agree with all of you. It's a great show, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. I've already decided with my wife that we're going to add it to our weekly viewing.
Oh, there you go. So there, Mike. Yeah. Sean.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Mark that it's filler, but I'd be interested in us all calling a pool. We should pick which episode we think they're going to know who the guy is, and then Mark can tell us when they find out.
I'm guessing episode 2.
Okay, I was going to guess.
Damn it! I was going to pick that too.
All right, I'm going to go for episode 6.
6.
Episode 6.
Right. All right, I'll go with 3. You called 2. Okay, fair enough. All right. Yeah, complete filler for me. Yep. I agree totally with Mark.
Steve. You're such a bitch.
No. Sorry, this one just.
Do you think
not
is
gonna
there
hang
a
on.
selection of listeners that haven't been on listening to us for very long, and when I do my thing of pretending that someone's opinion that's diametrically opposed to mine is the same, that they think I have some kind of problem and I don't understand like this diversity. And do you think they're there going, oh man, that poor guy, I wonder what's actually wrong with him? And then they go Googling charities like to give to so that Mark can get better and understand that people don't agree with him at all. And then they go, you know what? He's probably really happy. He thinks that there's nothing but unity and peace everywhere he goes. I bet he doesn't even know he's an asshole.
Save Mark campaign. Okay, so next up is the second of our movies, which is the Last Witch Hunter. The last one, the very last one. Sean, do you want to give the synopsis on this, or?
Yes,
Before
I will.
you do,
Okay.
before you do, right?
Yeah.
Before you do,
Yeah.
I have a giant Vin Diesel boner for this film because I follow him on Instagram and he has been relentlessly bombarding me with Last Witch Hunter pictures. He has the beard. He doesn't have the beard. He's got magic. He's got blue lights. I can only imagine that this is going to be the single greatest film since all of the Fast and Furiouses. Over to you, Sean.
Okay. So based on one of Vin Diesel's Dungeons and Dragons characters, The Last Witch Hunter follows the story of Calder, who way back when everyone had a beard and it was very cold, he and a group of his men go to stop the Black Plague by killing the Witch Queen. However, this leads to Calder being cursed to forever walk the earth. And so he decides he will always be a witch hunter. So even in the modern day, when there is a covenant between men, the realms of men and witches, where they agree that they will not interfere in the lives of humans, he still every now and then has to go deal with magic shit that goes awry. So the story goes from there because there are dark things coming that he must deal with.
So does he walk the earth like Kane in Kung Fu?
No, he walks it pretty much like Vin Diesel does in Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he-
In a fast car?
No,
Has he got
a black.
second car?
Oh.
No, a black wife beater.
Yeah. He generally flies first class as well.
Has he got an 8-second car?
It looks like he does.
So this stars Elijah Wood, Rose Leslie, Michael Caine, and what's your man's name again? Wife beater.
Vin Diesel.
And that's the one. Yeah, he's in it too. Yeah. So he's a superhero, kind of unkillable guy. Cursed by
Immortal.
a witch with immortality. Cursed. Yeah. So he hunts down nasty types, witches, hence the name.
Yep.
He being the last one. Armed with cliched one-liners.
He's
and
kind of
a
also the
black
first
wife
one
beater.
as well, isn't he?
Oh, he's the first and the last.
The Alpha and the
Well,
Omega.
he doesn't come from a long line of witch hunters. So you know, having not seen this movie, Mark, and having known that he's been cursed by a witch, I bet you can't guess which witch or why with which witch this movie culminates in a large fight.
Well, first of all, I am in complete and total admiration of your sentence structures.
Thank you very much.
I don't think anyone, even our esteemed colleague Sean here, who is a writer by trade, could have put it better. And the amount of times that you said which perfectly just boggles the mind. Truly, sir, you were meant for a career in broadcasting. It's a pity you have to give that shit away for free on this podcast. Is it the one that cursed him in the beginning?
Oh, you got it in one. Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's not on here for
He's a
no
fucking professional.
reason.
It's like I've seen a few Vin Diesel films before.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a bit sort of, oh, she's dead. Oh, she's not. Oh, she's behind you. Oh, wait, she's dead again. Yeah.
Oh, hold on, though. Steve,
What?
right? You've made the point that this is something that we could expect.
Yes.
However, one, that is not necessarily a bad thing. Simply, it depends on the delivery. And two, I felt that the reasoning behind this, why it is that which he must deal with, as explained in the film, to great character reaction, is very logical. It actually puts a wrinkle into the film. It makes it so that now victory is even further from the grasp of our hero in a way that makes perfect sense given the rules of the world.
You're right. Perfect sense. Juvenile and kind of tired kind of way. Yeah. You're right. I have to agree with you. It's not like we haven't seen this movie before, you know.
That must have been a hell of a big dump in your cornflakes this morning.
You'd know, Mike.
Yeah, I put it there.
Oh, Jesus. I think I've just broken my speaker. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, you know what? You know what you're getting when you're going into this. You really do. I was just disappointed that I was right. You know. I know this, Mark, you're going to love this. You're going to love it. But it's just not for me.
I still can't wait to see it. I am interested to find out what the sword fighting is like.
The sword fighting is
hot anyway. Yeah.
unfortunately not as much as you would imagine from the trailer.
No.
Yeah. He kind of puts childish things aside when he gets into the modern world, and there's not there's not enough sword fighting, to be sure. Although there is a fiery blade, which is always
he did a
thing.
lot of practice. A lot of his Instagram had pictures of him with swords.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there weren't a lot of people to fight with swords. Which is a big problem in a swordish kind of a way. I think that the main problem with this movie is that Katie Sackhoff isn't in it.
Well, actually, you know what?
God damn it.
This is something that I was thinking about, and it's one of my biggest disappointments in this movie. In that I feel very, very, very disappointed that actors that I have great admiration for, like Michael Caine and Rose Leslie, are in this movie.
Maybe that's because they got the script and they thought, oh, this is going to be a really good movie.
Really?
Because they
thought it might be a franchise. I don't know.
We finally come to a point in our careers where we're good enough and respected enough as actors to be in the same movie as Vin Diesel.
Now look, Elijah Wood, I can see him it's not that I don't respect him, right? But I can see him being in this. Remember he was in that horror last year, the one with where he was a tree or something.
Yeah,
remember that one?
Yeah,
see, he does those kind of oddbally ones now and again, so I can kind of see him doing this. Yeah. So that wasn't a big shocker, but Rose Leslie?
Yeah, I do agree they wasted Michael Caine and they wasted Frodo. But Rose Leslie, well, I think she got a good got a good innings.
Yeah. Actually, she was in another horror there last year as well. Remember that one?
Oh, the one in the house.
Yeah,
in the cabin in the woods. Yeah.
My problem with it was that they set up Elijah Wood to be his sidekick or whatever in the early part of the movie, and they spent a lot of time doing that, and then they promptly forgot about him until the climax.
I was like, "Who's your man?"
But Vin Diesel, he was pretty cool. You see the way he was able to pick up stewardesses and stuff, just like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Claude.
Yeah.
I want the ball passed to me so hard right now.
Yeah. Go on, Sean. Go on. Take it. Take it and run like the wind.
First of all, you were talking about wasting Michael Caine, right? There's a thing in screenwriting called actor baiting, where you, especially for older. Okay, I'll give it a second. Especially for older actors, and especially for people who, you know, they just like to do fairly easy shoots for a fair amount of money. People with big names who know that their name is going to get people to come to the films, especially in genre stuff, right? So often there will be parts written that don't require that many days of filming. For example, Michael Caine's part in this.
Yep.
Or voiceover acting is also very attractive to actors like this as well. So I really don't think that is a waste. I think it was written for Michael Caine. And so that he would accept doing it. And I think that he was used to, you know, effect in the film. I'm not sure that he was given any speeches of great value or merit. I don't think anyone really was in this. So I have to agree with you guys on that. However, I need to go back and talk about the fighting a little bit more.
Okay.
As opposed to taking the point of view of not enough sword fighting, I would rather compliment that all of the action sequences were very different. And I appreciated the way that they used magic, sword fighting, and then in the modern world, like different styles of stuff as well. Just so you know, Mark, Vin Diesel's character Calder does wield a flaming mercurial greatsword, D12 plus D6 fire damage.
Brilliant. Effective against witches, no doubt.
Very effective, and you'll actually be able to find a video of Vin Diesel playing Dungeons and Dragons as Calder in the lead up to this movie, where he rolls several critical hits in a row, which is pretty great. Like, he has this great line where he goes, "No matter how old you are, a 20 is a 20," and it's like, oh my god, I love you.
That's class.
But so that was like, I was already endeared to this film before it came out. So anyway, the fights. There's some really interesting use of magic, because magic needs to have some version of rules. Otherwise, they just use the ring of murder, death, kill all of the time. And I think in this, that there was some like interesting, like, okay, this guy has these kinds of powers. This person can do all this kinds of stuff. So most of the time that was pretty cool for me. Like, there's a scene where, because he can't be killed, people have to come up with different ways of combating him. And I thought that was pretty unique, and that was innovative. I thought that was cool. So I liked a lot of the fights. I thought that was pretty interesting. Which is really the main thing for me, that and also the world building. The idea of what is his life like as a guy who has to watch all these people die. They don't dwell on it too long. I mean, there's a whole bunch going on behind Vin Diesel's eyes, you know? That's where his acting happens, you know? Behind the baldness, which is probably what he should call his memoir. And I don't know, I liked it. Rose Leslie, I don't know, I can see why she did this movie. She gets a lot to do. Like, I felt like her character was very active.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting.
She's the better of the characters, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah, I wanted to know more about her character, actually. I didn't want to know more about the other characters, really.
I could see that, I guess. But I don't know, like, I was very happy with it. I did go into it expecting a certain thing, and they gave me that. And you can so see how this is kind of written like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. Like, there's so much of, like, okay, we have to get a cleric, and we need a wizard of some kind, because we already have a fighter. Okay, cool, now we've got a group. Right, so now we can combat any of the tricks we need. Oh, we need to go see a rogue so we can sell us some shit.
Yeah. We need an amulet. The amulet. Oh, yeah, class.
But yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was interesting. Although, I'm glad that they didn't just make all of the witches, like, the exact same kind of terrible witches we've been seeing in every movie ever. I'm glad there was some variety, not just to the style.
Shocker, good witches.
Not even that, but just like, I mean, people who are really afraid of Calder, like he's the boogeyman. Like, that was kind of an interesting tack to me, and him living in a world where he is that. It was just kind of interesting. I liked it.
Okay. Any finishing remarks, Mike?
No.
Do you want to mark it then?
Yeah. It was pretty well what I expected.
Yeah.
And I like these kind of movies.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to shit in it too hard.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, it's by no means a great movie. So I'm going to give it a 6.
Because it's better than that?
I'll give it a 6. It's watchable, but it's no classic.
Kind of with you on that. I don't feel as strongly about it as you do, in the positive way.
Okay.
But no, look, the effects were pretty good. Unfortunately, could have done with a bit less and a bit more sword fighting, as you said, Mark. But it's going to be a 4 for me. John.
If you don't like these kinds of movies, don't make yourself sit through it. It would be absolutely like a terrible idea if you go see this film. I went to see it with some of the people I played Dungeons and Dragons with. Like, it was like the perfect group, and then we nerded out about it and the rules and yada yada afterwards. Like, we all got to squee when they mentioned the level 14 Warlock. So I thought it was very enjoyable. And I think that the effects push it to above average. I would give it a 6.
All right. Okay. Next up, we've got some previews and come to a bicycle near you. So the first one this week that we saw, just a second. What did I do? Oh yeah, it was Christmas Eve. So there's perfect timing.
20 people. 6 elevators.
6 elevators. The set from, what do you call it? Grey's Lobotomy. Yeah.
One steaming pile of horseshit.
I thought Mark would like this. Because it's got his elevators. It's got his hospital. Mm-hmm. It's got Christmas.
Yeah.
It's pretty much ER.
There's some doctors in the elevators too.
Yeah.
Are they sleeping with each other?
Well, it could happen. They're going to be stuck in elevators for a while. What is it, a blackout or something like that?
Yeah.
What genre is it?
God, that's the question.
It's kind of action, horror, comedy.
Yeah. Christian Christmas type.
Feel good.
Drama.
Musical.
Okay, you're fucking with me right now. You have piqued my interest in the idea of a movie where it's 6 rooms, as in elevators, and a bunch of different characters inside of them. Trying to make that interesting, if they do it well, will be really fucking cool and unique. What genre is it? Are they all going to fuck, or are they all going to be
comedy?
drama?
The first thing they do to make it interesting is to make one of the main characters Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
And that goes a long way toward doing it. He's really experiencing a renaissance of sorts at the moment.
Yeah, he is.
The films that he's been put into, they're really like atypical roles. It seems like he plays a dirty old man really well, and now we've got another role here of the hard-nosed Scrooge type character.
You know who else is in this that I haven't seen in ages is Gary Cole. Yeah, I thought it was good. I was like, oh no, it's Midnight Caller. Or your man from Ally McBeal.
Was he in V as well? The original V?
God.
Is this the short guy from Different Strokes?
No. He was in,
that was the Gary Coleman joke.
He was in. He was in Talladega Nights, Office Space. Oh, it was Office Space. Sure, he was the boss in it. Okay. Do you remember him?
He's awesome.
Yeah, Pineapple Express. Yeah, he's in lots of stuff. He's by no means short. He's 6 foot. Yeah,
that's quite short in the Leonard family.
Yeah, well, that's. I was just thinking that should have just left that bit out.
Yeah, even the girls are fucking 6 foot.
I'm going to be ridiculed. You know what? This, I don't know. Christmas movie. It looks like a Christmas Day movie.
Bah humbug.
Yeah, bah humbug. Yeah. I'm not going to be running out to see this one now, I have to say. How about you, Mike? Looks like you're right up your street. No. Okay, next one we looked at was the Brothers Grimsby. This stars Sacha Baron Cohen.
Which you don't find out to the very end of the trailer.
Isla Fisher. Is it Isla? Isla. Okay. Penelope Cruz is in it. Rebel Wilson's in it. David Harewood's in it. Ian McShane is in it. Mark Strong's in it. Borny Sibidi is in it. Yeah, it's jammers full of cast.
It is indeed.
Yeah, and this is about the best spy in the world.
The bestest of the elitist of the
spy,
bestest.
Yeah. And he has a new assignment, and he has to team up with his brother.
Not the bestest of the
elitist. No, he's a football hooligan, and he's Sacha Baron Cohen.
He's not the best at anything from the looks of things, including having sex.
This, though, is one of the better trailers I think I've seen this year. It gives a brilliant first-person perspective, almost Black Ops.
Call of Duty goes.
Call
to
of
movies.
Duty. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant, but it's hilarious because it's so brilliant. It's just ridiculously brilliant. It's well worth watching the trailer. I'm up for this. This looks good. It is a comedy, obviously, with himself in it. But
I'm fucking dying to see this movie.
yeah.
I laugh my way from the start to the finish.
Yeah.
It's just this sort of brutal, stupid humor that I really like. And Sacha Baron Cohen, he's a fucking genius.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Did you see this, Mark?
I did indeed. It's the first three quarters of the trailer are a first-person shooter with hand-to-hand combat. And the final bit is Sacha Baron Cohen road testing a bed in a bed shop where he's having sex with somebody. And then makes really funny orgasm noises and says to the sales assistant, "We'll take it." Which I thought was brilliant. Because who the fuck else could they sell it to after that? But it's class. I think you've nailed it, saying.
Oh, I think the signal's gone. Mike, do you want to give us a synopsis on the next one? What is it? Chirac.
Apparently Chicago is more dangerous than Iraq now.
Right.
Apparently so.
Apparently.
The people who are bleeding in this Spike Lee movie are the black residents of the city. So the females of the city decide that the only way to get guns off the street is to withdraw sexual favors. So if you're carrying a gun, you ain't getting no nookie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and that's it.
Celibacy until the killing stops.
Yeah. So it looks like there's an awful lot of grandstand scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like big extras.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it looks a bit comedic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of taking a fairly serious theme and then...
But it's what it's based on is the interesting bit, isn't it?
Ah, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
yeah.
You're getting all classical on it.
Check this out. Yeah.
Oh,
So it's a modern-day adaptation of the ancient Greek play. Do you know this one? Did you write this one?
Lysistrata. No,
play?
I didn't. Aristophanes.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I did not know that.
So it's set against the backdrop of gang violence in Chicago. Yeah. So I guess, because we didn't know that initially, it looked a bit, don't know about this, but now I'm a bit more interested.
Yeah. But if you're going to rip something off, you might as well rip off the Greeks. 'Cause they're not going to sue you now at this stage.
Well, I don't know. They might need a bit of money.
Yeah. Good point. So this stars Wesley Snipes, Samuel L. Jackson, Angela Bassett. Who else is in this? Felicia Pearson. Oh, is that your one from The Wire? I think it might be. Yeah, there's loads of people you recognise in this. John Cusack. Mm-hmm. He plays the token white guy.
Yeah, the only white guy in Chicago.
Are you interested?
I think I might just go and read the play.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll read it in the back of the movie theatre while you're watching this film so we can at least talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks interesting. Yeah.
I thought the music was really good in this, if the trailer's nothing to go by. I thought the plot was pretty ridiculous. I don't know if it'll hang together for a full movie, because even in the very short space of time we have for the trailer, I was kind of going, come on.
Yeah. The narration was a bit distracting, I thought.
Yeah, because they were putting a lot into it too.
Yeah. You'd almost expect a couple of musical numbers to jump out at you.
Mm-hmm.
I always feel like using narration when you're like doing a text from a book to a film is kind of cheating or lazy. Because it's just like, what if we just take some shit from the book and have somebody say it? Just put it over the top. There you go. Now we're just telling you the book. It's an audio book. There you go.
We have no way of conveying this through visual construction. So it has to be said.
But if you make Samuel L. Jackson say it, it's
well, if
automatically
you're going to have anyone say it,
Yeah.
we want Samuel L. Jackson to say it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay. So
I mean, yeah. Why not?
Yeah. So Mike, Mark, Steve, and Sean, stay classy.